What a beautiful Tuesday night in Cincinnati, Ohio. Great American ballpark, and they're filing in on Bark at the Park night. Going to be a ton of dogs here this evening. First of a three-game series, it's the Brewers and the Cincinnati Reds, and right now the Pirates and the Giants occupy the top two spots in the wild card race. The magic number for both of those teams is now 2 to officially eliminate Milwaukee from contention. 6 games remaining. Hi, everybody. Brian Anderson along with Bill Schroeder. Great to have you with us here tonight. Telly Hughes is our reporter. And yeah, the Brewers, they're in a position now where they must win out, and you're going to have a lot of help on the other end. It does not look likely right now. Bottom line is you try to win every night, and the Brewers are going to give the ball tonight to Mike Fiers, who's been fantastic.
Yeah, part of a very good starting rotation since September 7th. No team in baseball has had better starting pitching, and Mike Fiers answered all the questions that everybody had for him after hitting Giancarlo Stanton in the face. What he did, he came back and had an outstanding outing. His last two, a matter of fact, have been very good. A 1-1 record, earned run average under 2. And against the Cardinals, his last time out, he took a no-hitter into the 6th inning. Outstanding work for Fiers. Able to locate his fastball. Excellent cutter in that particular game and had good command of his curveball. Going to have to do that tonight in this very hitter-friendly ballpark here in Cincinnati.
Now Fiers is going to draw Johnny Cueto tonight, who has his sights set on 20 wins. He's going to get 2 more starts this year. He's sitting on 18 victories. Fiers just lost to a current 20-game winner in Adam Wainwright his last time out. But Fiers, if you go back to August 9th, he has been much better than Johnny Cueto from that moment. And Fiers is making a lot of noise, not only this year, but moving ahead and thinking about the rotation for 2015. Well, when we come back, we'll check in with Telly Hughes. He's standing by down below. We'll hear from the manager, Ron Renicky, marching our way towards first pitch in the Queen City. Stay right there.
Milwaukee Brewers baseball on Fox Sports Wisconsin is brought to you by Menards. Save big money on all your home improvement needs at Menards. By Miller Lite, now in the original can. It's Miller time. By Toyota, let's go places. And by Southwest Airlines, without a heart, it's just a machine. The Queen City will stage the final road series of the season as the Brewers and Reds match up for a 3-game set in Cincinnati. Welcome back to Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati. I'm Telly Hughes. Mathematically, the Brewers are still alive, but realistically, they'll need nothing short of a miracle to make the postseason. A 2-4 record through the first 6 of this 9-game road trip has given manager Ron Roenicke reason to wonder what could have been if a few things went differently.
I think about it all the time, what's been happening and why and what we need to do. And so, with the pitching that we've had lately, you hope that the record is not 2-4, on the road. So we've played well enough to win every game. It just, whether it's a bad break, a bad pitch, not a good at bat at the plate. One of them has cost us winning those 4 games, really.
Coming up, 2 pitchers on top of their games will be on the bump tonight. It's Cueto versus Fires. BA and Rock will have the first pitch and call on the other side of the break.
Just about ready for baseball tonight. Great American Ballpark on the banks of the Ohio River separates Ohio and Kentucky. Just go right across the bridge. Hang out in Kentucky if you want. 73 degrees here. It is picture perfect for baseball. Field is in immaculate shape. And the Brewers and the Reds ready to match up for the final time in 2014. Last series of the year between these two division rivals. Second to last series of the season for the Brewers. They will conclude their season at Miller Park against the Cubs beginning Friday. Former Red Ron Roenicke and his lineup today. It is brought to you by Associated Bank. Roenicke has Gomez, Jeanette, and Lucroy at the top. Ramirez, Braun, and Parra make up the middle of the order. Matt Clark gets to start at first base with Segura and Fires rounding it out. See Aramis Ramirez against Johnny Cueto. Terrific numbers, a .333 average. Cueto has 18 wins this year. He has been among the elite in the National League all season. He's carrying a 2.33 ERA, and Rock, you know he is wanting to enter that 20-win club. He's going to have to win his last 2 starts to do it.
Yeah, no doubt. And one of those wins came against the Brewers earlier this season. He's made 1 start against the Brewers and beat them 6-2 here at Great American Ballpark. Second in the league in earned run average, tied for first in opponent batting average, and second in strikeouts. So this guy's having a terrific season.
Well, he's got the full complement, does Johnny Cueto. A fastball in the low to mid-90s. He has great command of all of his breaking stuff, his off-speed stuff, and he gives you that little bit of hesitation at the top. Very Louis Tiant-like when he is in the windup, and he can be tough on hitters. Gomez comes in batting .281, has 21 homers. Gomez looking for his first home run in over a month.
It had been an issue for this entire Brewers offense. 2 home runs on this road trip. That's it. And have not scored too many runs this trip.
Now the Brewers were shut out on Sunday 1-0. Just a heartbreaking loss as Gomez goes back up the middle, and a base hit for the Brewer leadoff hitter. Good way to start the night. Shortened up his stroke and banged one into center field.
Well, the Cincinnati Reds defense is the best in the National League. They've committed only 68 errors this year. That's good for a .988 fielding percentage. Particularly good up the middle with Zach Gozart and Brandon Phillips. Doesn't get much better than that. Billy Hamilton can run him down in the outfield. So there is your Cincinnati Reds defense tonight.
Cueto immediately into the stretch with Gomez at first base. Scooter Gennett will bat. Scooter always loves coming back to Cincinnati. This is where he spent his early childhood. He was spent his teenage years in Florida, but his early years here in Cincinnati. Moved to Florida at the age of 12 and still considers Cincinnati somewhat of a home base. He actually, even as an amateur, would play high school summer league ball, like AAU select team baseball in Cincinnati. Still has a lot of relatives here in the area. And Gomez is picked off. Well, it was a base running mistake that might have cost the Brewers in Pittsburgh on Sunday, and right away Gomez makes another goof on the base pads, and these are the kind of things that just start building and building, and the frustration just continues to mount.
And it's got to be maddening for this Brewers coaching staff. And as you talked about, the big mistake that he made in Pittsburgh, that was on Sunday. Got caught between second and third, and here in the first inning, picked off of first base. That'll be counted as a caught stealing.
And Gennett swings out ahead of that changeup from Cueto, which is one of his signature pitches.
Everything he throws is quality. I mean, he's got a plus fastball with movement on it. His deceptive delivery helps him in that regard. Got a breaking ball and that changeup. Might be one of the best in the business from a right-hander. Coming off one of his worst outings of the season last time out against the Cubs. A 7-0 loss where he gave up 6 earned runs in 5 2/3 innings.
Very un-Cueto-like, and even with that, Johnny Cueto's earned run average still at .223 for the season. Gives you an idea of how good he's been. He's had very few of those kinds of starts this year. The 6 runs he allowed in his last start matched the most he's given up all season, and he's only done it twice. As Gennett draws the walk, and the first 2 batters have reached. Now that caught stealing looking bigger. Take you back to Wrigley Field. Last time Cueto was on the mound, that was on the 16th of September. And he took the loss in that game. And as we've seen with the Chicago Cubs, they can be a free swinging ball club that can do damage in bunches. And for a guy like Cueto, Rock, who's around the strike zone a lot, sometimes he can have days like this against free swinging clubs. I would say the Brewers are a lot like that.
Yeah, and he also walked 5 guys, so that free swinging Cubs ball club were patient enough to draw the 5 walks. That didn't help him. Cueto not a guy that walks that many. I mean, he's got 64 walks before tonight. and 228 strikeouts. Been an amazing season.
And second in the league behind Clayton Kershaw, who is the likely winner of the Cy Young Award in the National League. Adam Wainwright has had a great year as well. Cueto's had a great year. He could make a bid for it. Will certainly garner some recognition, but Clayton Kershaw has just had one of those special seasons, and there's even discussion about Kershaw as the MVP in the National League this season. As Lucroy takes a strike. There's Jonathan Lucroy. You got a couple of all-star catchers matching up in this series here this week with Lucroy and Devin Mesoraco.
Yep, two of the top offensive catchers in all of baseball. Mesoraco leading catchers in the National League in home runs and RBIs. Lucroy not far behind.
Lucroy still sitting on 52 doubles. He is one away from tying a franchise record for doubles. He is in the game tonight as a catcher. So if he doubles in this game, not only will he match a franchise record, but he will set a major league record all by himself. He's currently tied with Pudge Rodriguez in that category. Looks like a runaway to lead the league in doubles this year. No real challengers to worry about. Freddie Freeman is second in the league in doubles with 41. And Lucroy opens play today with 52. He would become the first primary catcher in the modern Major League Baseball to lead his league in doubles. That is back to 1900. There was a catch. Oh, there's a throw that gets away, and Jeanette on his way to second. A throwing error by Cueto. And the Brewers put a runner in scoring position with one out.
Yeah, tried to be a little bit too quick. The arm couldn't catch up. And Cueto with the air to put Jeanette into scoring position. Scooter's really not in a position with the way he's been moving around to be stealing bases. Not sure why Cueto's so worried about him. And not a very good throw. Frazier not able to come up with it. See Scooter really hobbling down to second base.
He's been dealing with a quad injury, and he's tried to play through it and has played through it, but certainly not running at 100%. He's at second for Lucroy, and Lucroy in the air, center field. Billy Hamilton, the rookie, will make the play for out number 2. That'll bring up Aramis Ramirez now. Brewers are coming off a series in Pittsburgh where they dropped 2 out of 3. Won a 1-0 game on Saturday night. Lost a 1-0 game Sunday afternoon. Cincinnati had lost 6 in a row until they beat the Cardinals on Sundays. Ramirez into center field, a base hit. And Hamilton up with it on a hop. They're going to send Jeanette. The throw comes in, and Jeanette is out at the plate.
And just not running very well. Just having a tough time getting to full strength. And a relatively easy out at home plate. Unfortunate.
A single for Ramirez. 8-2 on the putout to end the inning as the hobbled Jeanette trying to get his way home. Not this time. runners thrown out on the base paths in that first inning, and they failed to score despite 2 hits and a walk. And now Mike Fiers is on the mound to match up against Johnny Cueto. We were taking a look at this play between innings, Rock, and wondering if Mesoraco was blocking the plate. That is not the case.
Not at all. And it looked like he got him on the back of the jersey for the out. We're just talking about Jeanette not running all that well. I mean, obviously not running at full speed, and ends the inning on a play at the plate. Unfortunate for the Brewers and Aramis Ramirez.
Well, it'll be Mike Fiers. He has been a bright spot. And as a matter of fact, all of the starters have been pitching so well. Makes it tougher to deal with the losing that the Brewers have endured over this stretch of games. But Fiers coming off a loss in St. Louis. His 3rd of the season in the big leagues. He's 6-3, a sparkling ERA. And we'll see how he bounces back. That was a tremendous effort for him, as Rock mentioned in the open. The game after he hit Giancarlo Stanton, I think everybody was concerned on how he would locate the ball. And he passed with flying colors.
That took a no-hitter into the 6th inning. And in fact, Fiers having a great month of September. 4th start here tonight in September, and a 145 earned run average and 2-1 record. Making his 4th career start against Cincinnati.
29-year-old right-hander out of Florida. Billy Hamilton leads off. And there's a strike to Hamilton. Well, Hamilton's come to the big leagues and done what the Reds hoped he would. That's steal a lot of bases. He's been caught the most in the National League. But Hamilton has certainly been a factor on the base paths this year. He is 2nd in the NL behind D. Gordon in steals, and has a chance at a 60 stolen base season. Sitting on 56 steals right now. D. Gordon has 64 to set the pace.
You can only imagine how many stolen bases he would have had he had a good second half. He's hitting 200, around 200 in the second half of the season. Now, this guy was a bona fide Rookie of the Year candidate for most of the year, but the way he's finished, I doubt it.
Two balls, 2 strikes on Hamilton. And a swing and a miss. Fiers strikes him out for the first out of the inning. Well, you've met Hamilton. Let's give you the rest of the Cincinnati batters here against Mike Fiers. Jason Bourgeois, former Brewer, is batting 2nd. Todd Frazier hits 3rd. Then you got Mesoraco, Phillips, and Jay Bruce. Christopher Negron gets a call at 3rd base. Cozart, the shortstop. Johnny Cueto on the mound. The Associated Bank Cincinnati lineup. And Brandon Phillips takes pretty gaudy numbers against the Brewers into his start here tonight. Oh, good to see Jason Bourgeois back in the big leagues. Houston, Texas native. Got a little time with the Brewers a few years ago.
Yeah, that brings a lot of speed to the lineup. Pretty good outfielder. Moves around pretty well. And normally a guy's going to put the ball in play.
Ryan Braun eases over toward the line and Fiers with 2 up and 2 down here in this first inning.
Well, let's check out the Brewers defense tonight. Once again brought to you by Menards. It's Parra Gomez and Braun in the outfield. Aramis Ramirez, Gene Segura at shortstop. Jeanette and Clark from 3rd to 1st, with Jonathan Lucroy making his 129th appearance behind home plate this year. That's a lot of games caught for Lucroy, and he has been very consistent in that lineup. Tough to get him out of the lineup, as much as Ron Rennick would like to give him a day off.
Todd Frazier swinging away at the first pitch. He fouls it back. I figure Lucroy is going to be in there as long as the Brewers still have a mathematical chance at making the postseason. And then I would imagine if that day comes, then you'd see Lucroy take a day off, maybe 2. He's also chasing the doubles record, so you know he wants to play. Might not see him in there as a catcher. Tough to maintain your stamina when you catch as much as Jonathan Lucroy. And probably showing up at the plate.
Day games after night games. Yeah, I'll tell you, the weather's been relatively mild this year, and that's going to keep you strong. Haven't had that unbearable heat. That'll wear you down.
Well, just gorgeous weather here in Cincinnati and all through the Midwest this weekend and here today. Brewers enjoyed the off day here in Cincinnati yesterday. And when in Cincinnati, you got to go to the Montgomery Inn and get some ribs.
Is that where you went last night?
Yes. Man, what a great spot.
Did you get a free meal for that pot right there?
No, but next time. Next time. Yeah, man, you hit the Montgomery Inn, you get some ribs, you get a little Grater's ice cream, right?
Yeah, keep going.
It's solid.
Anything else?
Just a stroll down the old Ohio River. Two count to Frazier. An all-star this year. Fires, misses barely.
I'm not sure where. It looked like Fires thought it was a strike. C.B. Buckner did not. Okay. Good eye, Todd.
Excellent eye. Puts Frazier in a 3-2 count. And that one's hit deep into center field. Back is Gomez, and it's gone.
Give him an extra swing. Knocks it out of the ballpark. I don't blame Fires. That was a strike on that 2-2 pitch. Give Todd Frazier an extra swing, and he knocks it out of the ballpark.
Well, he homered on Sunday in St. Louis. Homers in consecutive games, and now 28 home runs for the season. He has been a bright spot in an otherwise challenging year for the Cincinnati Reds offensively, and you can tell by the sound.
Well, you know, you can't get the corners. You got to throw them down the middle of the plate, and Todd Frazier knocks it out of here to center field.
1-0 Reds, and there's a strike to Devin Mesoraco. Fires has only given up 4 home runs. This is his 9th start in the big leagues this year.
About the only guy offensively that's done anything in the second half of this Reds team, Todd Frazier.
Mesoraco's hit 24 home runs. A lot of that damage coming in the first half, as Rock mentioned. It's been a quiet second half for Mesoraco. He's hitting just .244 in the second half, and only 8 of his 24 home runs coming in half number 2. First time All-Star this year in the National League. He was a replacement for the injured Yadier Molina. Mike Matheny chose Mesoraco. He's second on the club in homers. He leads the team in runs batted in.
Well, the gamble allowing Ryan Hannigan to leave paid off for Cincinnati. They got a pretty good catcher playing every day and doing a very good job, not just at the plate, but behind home plate. Guys like him back there.
Good defender, throws it well, and brings a lot of offense. He is a feature hitter in this lineup and hitting cleanup. Reds have been without Joey Votto a good part of this second half. Matter of fact, he went on the disabled list after a series against Milwaukee. He's out with a quad injury. Has been taking batting practice every day the last 5 days, Joey Votto. We saw him out there today. But Votto returning to the active roster before the season ends is unlikely, according to Brian Price, his manager.
Hasn't played since July 5th.
Mesoraco turns on one. That is deep into left field. Parra right at the wall, and that's gone as well. Back-to-back home runs. Frazier and Mesoraco go deep. And it's 2-0 Cincinnati.
2 outs, nobody on. The Reds able to manufacture a couple of runs. The Brewers had a good start to their inning, but a couple of outs on the bases. And now one of the best in the business has a 2-0 lead in the first inning. Mesoraco got under it, but in this ballpark, you don't have to get him right on the barrel. Big, strong catcher able to muscle it and drops it in the first row out there in left field. But you know what? The Brewers have the same opportunity to hit home runs in the same ballpark.
Well, still 2 outs. Here's Brandon Phillips now. And a first pitch curveball is inside. Well, been a rough season for Phillips. Playing in just his 116th game. He missed a little over a month with a wrist injury, or actually a thumb injury. Had surgery on his thumb, his left thumb, not his throwing hand. Very similar injury and timing to Yadier Molina's thumb injury.
One of the best all-around second basemen in the game right now. Had a good history of good second basemen in Cincinnati. Joe Morgan. Now Brandon Phillips.
Pops this one up. Back in the grass is Jeanette. Take a peek at Gomez. Jeanette will make the play for the out. And the side is retired. But with 2 outs, the Reds go back-to-back. Frazier and Mesoraco. And it's 2-0 Cincinnati. As the Reds go back-to-back in the first inning, Todd Frazier and Devin Mesoraco. Our Farmland What's Cooking has Cueto in the spotlight here today. See, Willie Peralta is in there as well with 16 wins. Cueto is trying to join Clayton Kershaw and Adam Wainwright as 20-game winners this year in the National League. He has a chance to do that. He'll have this start and one more against Pittsburgh before the end of the season, and is, by all accounts, statistically or otherwise, an ace on this staff.
It's been amazing the way this guy has been able to eat up innings, get the strikeouts. And his best season was 2012. He went 19-9 for Cincinnati. Injuries last year, but he's right back at it again this year. Tough customer, and he really looks like he has a good time out there in the mound. Change his delivery once in a while. He kind of turns his back, but every now and again he'll quick pitch you. You got to be ready for that.
Ryan Braun leads off for the Brew Crew here. He'll be followed by Parra, then Matt Clark. And the 1-2 to Braun, a swing and a miss. Down he goes on strikes. First strikeout for Cueto. Matter of fact, that's only his second out at the plate. The other 2 outs in the first inning came on the base paths.
Changeup right there, up and in. But Ryan Braun not able to make contact. That was a mistake pitch by Cueto. You could see his reaction, not pleased with the location, but got away with it.
Here's Gerardo Parra now. And a first pitch strike from Cueto. Little breaking ball in there. Gerardo back in the starting lineup. Renicky trying to get as many lefties in there as possible. He has 3 of them. Jeanette, Parra, and Clark. Chris Davis continues to sit. His playing time has been sporadic. He's been dealing with a forearm injury. Not so serious that he's out of commission totally, but serious enough where he can't really play every day. Brewers are missing that power bat. Parra's done a nice job when he's gotten his chance.
Well, the fact that Gerardo Parra's been swinging the bat well, so a little bit of it is the forearm for Davis, but I think a little bit of it is the fact that Parra's been doing so well. Parra's always going to give you a good quality at bat. I mean, he's going to work the count. He hits the ball where it's pitched most of the time. That's something that Ron Renicky has really been talking about a lot, the approach up at the plate.
And Parra swings and misses.
Change up again.
Well, he's got a good one going early tonight. Back-to-back Ks for Johnny Cueto.
Hey, Brewers fans have once again proven that they're the best in baseball, and to show their appreciation, the Brewers are giving away scratch-off cards to every fan in attendance this Sunday as the Brew Crew closes out the 2014 season against the Chicago Cubs. Visit Brewers.com/fan appreciation for details.
Yeah, we hope to see you at the ballpark at Miller Park. Always kind of sad when the season comes to an end and you got to sit through a long off season. As challenging as this season has been, and especially here in the last 6 weeks. But have some fun at the ballpark. Come out, watch a little baseball, and
get some prizes.
Yeah, no question. We'd love to have you. We'll show as many of you as we can, we promise. Matt Clark, a big swing and a miss. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Clark. These are important days for Matt Clark. He's trying to establish himself as a candidate for first base next year. Guys like Clark and Hector Gomez, Jason Rogers, just begging for playing time to prove what they can do. Clark came up to the big leagues in September, made an immediate impact. Hit 3 home runs in his first 3 games. Hits that one sharply. Phillips knocks it down from his knees. Makes the play. That's why they give him gold gloves every year. Brandon Phillips, another gem. And a 3-up, 3-down inning for Johnny Cueto. Nobody better than this guy. Reds. They lead 2-0 as we go to the bottom of the second inning now. Reds are coming up, and our lows never stop improving. We take a look at Mike Fiers, 29 years of age, and Rocky is seemingly getting better with age compared to last season. The numbers are dramatic.
Yeah, well, everything is going well for Fiers right now. Throwing strikes, he's got all of his pitches working for him, and he was one pitch away from getting out of that first inning with a 3-up, 3-down inning. You remember that close fastball that he threw to Todd Frazier, called off the plate, and then ultimately gave up a couple of home runs. But he's drawn a tough card last couple of starts with Wainwright and Cueto.
Lost 2-0 to Adam Wainwright his last time out in St. Louis, as Jay Bruce leads off for the Reds here in the second. Fiers gave up 2 runs, but only 1 was earned. You might remember that was the inning. Cardinals scored twice in that inning in the 7th, and Gomez slipped and fell on a base hit. Out to Jeanette behind first base. Matt Clark says, all right, you want to come over here, and you take it. Kelly Leak.
It's kind of like twilight right now. It's up to see that ball up in the air. You can't take your eye off of it until those lights fully take hold.
That'll bring up Christopher Negron. Like a lot of third base these days. Todd Frazier was their third baseman for most of the year until Votto got hurt. Then Brian Price moved Frazier to first base. And been a bit of a revolving door at third, but Negron has settled into that spot recently. It's an excellent defensive ball club, as we just saw in that great play by Brandon Phillips.
He's something else, isn't he? Not only does he get to it, keeps it in his glove, but he instinctively knows where first base is and gets rid of it. I mean, he was on his back essentially when he threw that ball to first base.
There's a pop-up. Fiers got in on the hands of Negron. Clark will make the play this time. Scooter lets him play for out number 2. Well, coming up this weekend on Saturday, MLB returns to Fox. Derek Jeter's final weekend series. It'll be the Yankees and the Red Sox. Or you'll see the Pirates taking on these Reds. That's on Fox Sports 1. It all starts at 11:30 a.m. Central on Fox, noon Central on Fox Sports 1, streaming live on Fox Sports Go.
How about the Pirates? They've caught the Giants. The Pirates are now in the number 1 wild card spot.
Pittsburgh owns the tiebreaker over the Giants, so catching the Giants means they win home field advantage. Pittsburgh still has their sights set on a division title. They're going to need some help, but they are in striking distance of the St. Louis Cardinals starting play today. They're just 2.5 back, and just 2 back in the loss column. Pirates won 1-0 last night, their third consecutive 1-0 game, and it's 1-0 tonight. Braves have the lead.
That's right. Offense down everywhere, isn't it?
Zach Cozart with 2 away. Outstanding defensive shortstop for the Reds. And a ground ball out to Jeanette. And that will retire the side. Good comeback for Fiers. 1-2-3 inning after giving up a couple in the first. Leonardo Lowe and Brian Mikulajic doing whatever he does in the truck. Great to have you with us here on Fox Sports Wisconsin. 2-0 our score. Reds lead it. Don't forget, you can tweet us your photos tonight. Just make sure you use the hashtag WisFanPhoto for a chance to have it shown in an upcoming broadcast. We're running out, so send them in. It's all brought to you by AT&T.
A lot of dogs in the ballpark tonight. You see them all parading around before the game.
It's not nice to talk about the truck like that.
No, it's dog day here at the ballpark.
Oh, real dogs.
Bark in the park.
Oh, I thought you meant like DAWGS, like dogs.
No. I wouldn't do that.
Okay, real dogs.
I wouldn't say that on the air anyway. Had to be, 100 dogs parading around tonight?
It was, I don't know. I'm not a dog estimator as far as dog crowd estimators go, but it looked like a pretty good stream of mutts.
You're making it tough on me here.
There's one. Look at those eyes. Wow.
Looking for a stray hot dog or 2 or 3.
Gene Segura leads off for the Brewers. Yeah. Bark in the park night. I mean, what's not to love about having your dog at the old ballpark?
Right, you don't have to worry, leave him at home, be all lonely, bring him out.
I don't know, is it me or do the Brewers always feel like the team that's in town for Bark in the Park night wherever we go?
San Diego earlier this year.
San Diego.
Right.
I feel like there was one more that we experienced. San Francisco, that's where we were. San Francisco. I just remembered that.
Yeah.
Segura fires, and Gomez will start this inning against Cueto. Had a 1-2-3 second inning with 2 strikeouts. And there's that changeup again, and Segura's down on strikes. We might have to go around. Oh, there's a dog selfie going on right there. We might have to go around and start to assemble our.
From left field around to the right field line. You know, little legs.
Yeah. Seemed like a Basset Hound Dachshund mix. Kind of the belly just kind of like skimming the ground as he walked by.
Yeah. Certainly not a cold weather dog.
Fires facing Cueto, fouls it straight back. Now the Brewers had a chance in the first inning against Cueto. Gomez led off the game with a single. He was immediately picked off. Officially, it goes as a caught stealing. And then Aramis Ramirez had a base hit, but Jeanette was thrown out at the plate. There's a bouncer to third, and Negron makes the play for out number 2.
They had 2 hits and a walk. You'd think you'd be able to score, but not the case.
Now the Brewers are just trying to survive one more day. They know the odds are stacked against them significantly. Pittsburgh and San Francisco have a magic number of 2 to eliminate Milwaukee. So a combination of a Pirates win over the Braves, a Giants win over the Dodgers later tonight in LA, and a Brewers loss, and that would eliminate the Brew Crew mathematically. So you just try to do the best you can and survive as long as you can, and you never know what could happen, as the Brewers can attest. Gomez takes a fastball high. Braves have added to their lead. It's now 2-0 on Pittsburgh. They're in the 3rd inning now. Pirates have Garrett Cole going tonight. Alex Wood for Atlanta. Braves made news yesterday. They fired their general manager, Frank Wren, and a couple of others in their baseball operations department. So they've made some moves. John Schuerholz is on the hunt for a new general manager, and that will determine who the manager and coaching staff are next year. There's a swing and a miss, and Cueto gets another strikeout on the changeup. So 4 Ks in the last 2 innings. Cueto's retired 6 in a row.
The Brewers wrap up the 2014 season against the rivals from the north side this Friday through Sunday when the Brewers take on the Cubs at Miller Park. For tickets, call 414-902-4000 or go to brewers.com today.
Yeah, the Brewers will wrap it up here in Cincinnati Thursday afternoon. And then Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday afternoon against the Chicago Cubs. Feels like one last epic tailgating weekend at Miller Park. Mike Fiers back to work. Johnny Cueto will lead off. These Brewers starting pitchers each and every night, they have a side wager with pitching coach Rick Kranitz that the pitcher has to bat in the third inning at some point, meaning you have to get through the first 2 innings facing just 8 batters. It's a little game they play, and it's an important one. Sets up the lineup the rest of the way. You have your opposing pitcher leading off in the third. It helps you typically get to an easier out and get the inning started. Kranitz still hard at it with his pitching staff, working side sessions and bullpens. This has been a pitching staff that has responded well. If the Brewers get any offense at all, things may be a little differently here as Cueto draws the walk. That's the last thing you want to do with a pitcher at the plate, especially a light hitting pitcher like Cueto.
Yeah, Cueto has a difficult time making contact and draws a leadoff walk. I mean, you talk about these coaches and, you know, all the struggles the Brewers have been going through. These guys work extra hard to try and figure out a way to turn things around at the ballpark early, working on the scouting reports, early work. Not much they can do. Guys have to get the job done once the game starts.
Well, they work the hardest, they put in the most time, and they take it the hardest. Take the losses the hardest.
Their careers and, you know, their evaluation is based on how others do. They're pretty helpless in that regard, and they feel bad the way things have turned out. And hopefully the Brewers can turn things around real quickly here. We'll see.
Interesting. Aramis Ramirez going to the mound. And as Fiers walks Cueto and then falls behind Billy Hamilton, it is Ramirez, the third baseman, who beat Lucroy to the mound.
One thing that Mike Fiers has not had a difficult time with this year is throwing strikes. I mean, he's had Such a good run, but walks have not been an issue for him. He's only walked now 16 batters in his 9 starts.
There's a strike inside corner on Hamilton. That walk to Cueto was Fire's first of the night. He's never walked more than 3 in a game, and has only done that once. That was against the Marlins. Hamilton into center field. Gomez eases over. And Billy Hamilton is out number 1. All right, Rock, you ready for some trivia tonight? We thought we'd keep it interesting for you this evening. Our Carsoup.com trivia going uniform numbers. So, you know, Fire's changed his jersey number to 50. So what uniform number did he wear when he made his MLB debut with the Brewers? Are you big into the numbers?
I have no idea. Do you?
I do.
Of course. Somebody tell you?
No, I remember it. It's very offensive lineman-ish.
60s, 70s?
I'll give you a hint. It was in the 60s. And I'll give you 9 guesses. Bourgeois at the plate.
You know what? I just remembered.
Oh, you did? Just now?
Yep.
Wow.
I'm going to write it down for you.
That's correct. Well done, Rock. Why don't you take the rest of the night off? Little chopper foul off the bat of Jason Bourgeois.
This stuff just comes to you after a while. You got to think about it a little bit.
Yeah.
Who would have thought that you'd be asked that question? I had to, go through the mental Rolodex a little bit. Didn't take long.
What else is in that mental Rolodex?
I mean, the text messages from my friends.
You do have quite the army of R&D out there in the texting world. It is amazing. Now, you said you were going to tweet on your off day yesterday. Did that happen? Because I didn't really see anything. I'm a follower of yours.
Yeah.
And I was kind of waiting all day, but maybe I missed it.
Well, we're down to the Bourbon Trail. Do I need to say anything else?
Oh, you did.
Down in Kentucky? Yeah.
Okay. Probably the best thing you didn't tweet. Oh, there's another pitch inside. Fires doesn't get the call.
Yeah, very tight strike zone on that inside corner for C.B. Buckner. Let's see where this one ends up.
Fox Tracks had it just inside.
Yep.
How was the Bourbon Trail?
Nice.
Kentucky, you just like meander down that way. How long did it take you to get there?
2.5 hours to the one stop. We made another stop on the way back and had a good time.
Nice.
As opposed to playing golf and being frustrated all day.
Right. Who would want to do that? There's a ball high. Bourgeois on a 3-2 count.
How did you hit him?
Great. Yeah, thinking about going pro actually, after my round yesterday. Looking for some sponsors, Take it out there and.
You're a busy man. You think you have time to do all that?
Between gigs, I thought, working every now and then it'd break 90, and I think if I could have a couple of good days, good practice days, I could probably play on the PGA Tour.
Squeeze it in between.
Ninth pitch of the at-bat coming to Bourgeois. Line drive right field, but Braun is right there, and there is out number 2. Long battle between Fires and Bourgeois, but he finally got him. 2 gone for Frazier.
And once again, the out pitch for Fires is that four-seam fastball right over the top. Hides it well, and for whatever reason, a lot of hitters have a tough time squaring up on him. Of course, Todd Frazier had no problem with it his first time up.
Now Fiers thought he had Frazier rung up with an inside corner fastball. It was called a ball. It didn't miss by much, if at all. The next pitch, Frazier hit one out to center field. Got tremendous power and is staring down a 30 home run season this season.
Well, the Reds finished their final 6 games here at Great American Ballpark, so he's got a chance to do that.
Hit his 28th home run against Fiers in the first inning. Frazier was the National League Home Run Derby champion. Cespedes won the Home Run Derby for the 2nd consecutive year. And Frazier hits that one hard. Left field, that's going to go to the wall. And watching Cueto around first, he stumbled a little bit. He'll end up at third. Frazier's in with a double. He's 2 for 2 today. And the Reds have him in scoring position with 2 gone.
I haven't seen too many guys square up Fiers like that in back-to-back at-bats this year. So he's having no problem picking up that fastball. The fact that he's ahead in the count helps him as well. And Fiers comes inside and Frazier turns it around, and good thing Johnny Cueto running around the bases. Would have been interesting had it been a position player with the arm of Gerardo Parra out there on the left.
So Frazier with double number 22 to go along with 28 homers. And Rick Kranitz, pitching coach, out having a chat with Lucroy and Fiers. Been some meetings here early in this game. Here's Devin Mesoraco now with 2 on and 2 out. I don't think you'll hear it from the pitching, from the starting pitchers especially, but you know the burden has to be there. They know as well as anyone that the ball club is not scoring runs, and they have to be feeling like they're pitching without any room for error.
Right, no margin for error. I mean, 2 runs. You know, in the first inning, you got to be somewhat demoralizing for this pitching staff. Of course, it all falls on the shoulders of the offense, and the guys swinging the bats know it better than anybody.
Brewers scored just 3 runs in that 3-game series in Pittsburgh. There's a strike.
You score 3 runs in 3 games and you win one of them.
Right. Yeah, a 1-0 win on Saturday night. Brewers only allowed 5 runs in 3 games. Brewer pitching. The kind of pitching the Brewers have gotten over this stretch of 14 games, you could easily expect a winning record, but you could also expect a run, a series of possible sweeps and a lot of wins in a row. That just hasn't been the case. That's been the frustrating part. There's a swing and a miss. He took a little off. Maybe that split change from Fiers.
Yeah, that was a good one. Right over the top was Mesoraco. And not only has the Brewers pitching been very good, but their opponent's pitching has been good. They can't lay it all on the offense. They've been facing some pretty decent pitching.
2-2. Mesoraco at the plate. 2 on in scoring position with 2 away. Fiers trying to get through this one, knowing that 2 more runs could spell serious trouble for the Brewers. Cueto over at third. Frazier at second. And a fastball missed. Tried to sneak one past him.
Probably don't want to come inside again with a fastball. That's the pitch that Mesoraco hit out of the ballpark. Maybe change up here. Another fastball away.
Been a long inning. 9 of those 25 pitches came in one at bat against Jason Bourgeois. And now Lucroy on his way out again. That is a 4th meeting at the mound already. We're only in the 3rd inning.
And the importance of every pitch. Talking about the margins for this Brewers pitching staff.
AAA manager Rick Sweet there having a chat with Kranitz. Brought up Rick for the final road trip of the season.
Talking to Rick before the ball game today, he was in the minor league system with the Reds, and he had a lot of these guys. So maybe Kranitz talking to him, picking his brain about some of these hitters.
A swing and a miss. He struck him out. Fires went with the off speed and picks up a big K early. Strands 2 on. Still 2-0 Reds. The 3rd inning, stranding runners at 2nd and 3rd. He picked up a strikeout, his 2nd, and now it'll be Scooter Gennett to start the 4th. And a 2-0 Cincinnati lead, and Scooter is in our AT&T U-verse rewind. Remember this? Scooter Gennett last year, his first career Major League home run came right here at Great American Ballpark.
Yeah, Bronson Arroyo serving it up. Gennett, first of a few home runs for him. He does have some pop in that bat. He make a mistake on him.
Gennett has 9 home runs this year. He's hit 3 home runs in his career. In his 14 career games, he has 3 in this ballpark. Well, he's a hobbled young infielder right now, but you respect him for trying to play through it. He was thrown out at the plate to end the 1st inning, and a normal Scooter Gennett scores easily on that base hit. But he's not running well. He's protecting a quad injury.
Just wants to try to get through the remainder of the season and get healthy during the offseason. Those things don't go away in a week to 10 days. It takes a while.
Gennett, Lucroy, and Ramirez against Johnny Cueto. Cueto's been using that changeup very effectively the last 2 innings. He's retired 6 in a row. He has 4 strikeouts in that stretch. The other 2 outs are ground outs. chased one upstairs.
You see Cueto not with that big fastball. It's 91, 92. Got that deceptive delivery. Both pitchers tonight, use that deception in their delivery to help them out. Both have very good change-ups. Neither one of them throw hard.
A little quick pitch by Cueto.
That's what we were talking about.
Sneak that in every now and then. Doesn't go to the big leg kick. Trying to catch the hitter a little off balance.
He'll do it 2 strikes most of the time. Right there, Scooter ready.
And now watch him here. And he does it again. And Jeanette fouls that one away. So back to back. It's not technically a quick pitch. That's illegal. This is just a hurry up. Just a little different motion. You can do it with nobody on base. There's the normal Cueto motion.
Just varying the delivery a little bit, the wind up. Nothing wrong with that.
Now for Cueto, this start tonight will match a career high for him. This is his 33rd start. He's already leading the National League in innings pitched. He's going to go over the 230 innings mark, or has already actually. As Jeanette sends one to right field, going back on it is Bruce with room, and there is out number 1.
The amazing thing about Johnny Cueto and looking at the stats today is that this is a ballpark that gives up a lot of home runs. His home earned run average this year is 1.79. I mean, that's how good this guy's been in a very difficult ballpark to pitch in.
He has allowed the most home runs since the 09 season for him, which was his second season. He's given up 20 home runs this year. But that just tells you the base runners are at a minimum. As Lucroy pulls one foul.
Yep, solo shots don't hurt you too much.
Cueto this year is at an all-time best for strikeouts per 9 innings. He's averaging a strikeout per inning.
And he's doing that tonight.
Bouncing ball out to Cozart. Lucroy grounds out for the second out. It's a couple of numbers that starting pitchers always shoot for. 200 innings pitched. That's for everyone. And those who have the strikeout ability, you try to get to 200 strikeouts. And among Reds pitchers, they have a great history. The original professional team. This is a pretty short list of pitchers that have achieved that goal. 200 innings, 200 strikeouts in a season.
Noodles Hahn.
Old Noodles. You remember him?
I do.
He had a real loose arm.
He had a good outshoot.
His upshoot was almost as good as his outshoot. And his fadeaway was just deadly.
They had some great names back then.
Ramirez in the air, left center field. Billy Hamilton will run that one down, no problem. And a 3-up, 3-down inning for Cueto. He's retired 9 in a row. We head to the bottom of the 4th, 2-0 Reds. Milwaukee Brewers baseball on Fox Sports Wisconsin is brought to you by Piggly Wiggly, the official supermarket of Fox Sports Wisconsin. And by Marshfield Clinic. Don't just live, shine. The riverboats churning along the Ohio River. That right there is known as the Belle of Cincinnati. And that is a great way to spend an evening with some of your friends and family or coworkers. Rent those riverboats out.
Lazy trip up the old Ohio River.
Have you ever tracked the Ohio River? I did yesterday. I just kind of tracked it on the map. It's an incredible river with the way it winds north and south. And I mean, it's amazing. It's an amazing river that takes you from Pittsburgh all the way to the just north of Memphis. Empties into the Mississippi River, or that's where it connects, the Mississippi River. Did you know that?
No, I didn't. No, that's just good. Thank you.
That's a little off-day work. Brandon Phillips leads off for Cincinnati here in the fourth inning. Kind of fascinated by rivers and how they flow. And so many of our great cities in this country are in the place they are because of the rivers.
Right, absolutely. Access to water. I mean, the three cities that the Brewers have been on this trip: St. Louis, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati.
We could have just gotten a boat, one of those little cruisers, and we could have just gone from Pittsburgh to Cincinnati. We didn't have to take a chartered airplane. We might not have been here yet, but we could have taken it.
Why would we want to get here in 45 minutes?
0-2 to Phillips. And he fouls one away, an emergency swing, trying to stay alive against Fiers. Oh, 2 the count on Phillips. And a jam shot. Yikes, that almost hit him. Phillips made up his mind he was going to swing right there.
That ball had a little bit of tail on it. I think it fooled Phillips. It was started on the inside corner and then really ate him up inside, but still able to get a piece of it.
I love how Phillips, after that swing, he looks down at his third base coach, Steve Smith, as if he's looking for a sign. Steve Smith just stares back at him. Go ahead and hit. And hit he does. Right off the end of the bat, out to Parra in left field for the out. One away in the fourth. Back to our Carsoup.com trivia. If you're into your numbers trivia, what uniform number did Mike Fiers wear when he made his MLB debut with the Brewers? That was in 2012, and he wore uniform number 64. That's the number he pitched in last year as well, and he changed it to number 50 when he was called up this season.
I want to thank my buddy Doug Johnson watching tonight for that bit of information for me.
The sheriff, the deputy dog.
Yep. New Berlin's finest.
Jay Bruce with one away in the fourth. And a swing and a miss. 0-2 the count on Bruce. Now, since Mike Fiers came to the big leagues and put on that number 50, he has been one of the best pitchers in the game, both leagues. Bruce pops it up. Parra's got a long run, but he's there to make the catch. And there is out number 2, both outs to Parra.
Much easier play for Gerardo in left coming in than it is for Ramirez going back over the shoulder. Great speed, good instincts out there in the outfield. He's going to be a nice asset for this team next year.
I was looking at Fiers' numbers since he returned to the major leagues this year. If you make that your line of demarcation with every other starter, Fiers is second in the NL in earned run average. A 1.68 ERA is his earned run average. since that time, since August 9th. Remember, he was up in the big leagues. He pitched out of the bullpen earlier this season, then sent back to go stretch out and become a starter. There's a broken bat. And Negron is out and fires with a nice tidy 1-2-3 inning here in the fourth. 2-0 Reds, 4 in the books in Cincinnati.
Top of the fifth here in Cincinnati. Reds with a 2-0 lead. Time to check in with the crew in the community. Roberto Clemente dedicated his life to helping others. In honor of the late Hall of Famer and humanitarian, Major League Baseball annually bestows the Roberto Clemente Award presented by Chevrolet to recognize the player who best represents the game of baseball through sportsmanship, community involvement, and positive contributions both on and off the field. Ryan Braun is one of the 30 club nominees eligible to win the league-wide Roberto Clemente Award presented by Chevrolet. Vote for Ryan Braun at www.chevybaseball.com.
All right, Telly, thanks. And it'll be Ryan Braun to start it here in the fifth inning. 2 runs in the first, back-to-back home runs by Frazier and Mesoraco. The only tallies on the board here today. The Reds lead 2-0. Braun, Parra, Clark coming up for Milwaukee. Matt Clark. Well, we went through a fourth inning where there were 21 pitches thrown between Cueto and Fiers and not one ball.
Well,
21 pitches, 21 strikes between the two hurlers. And Cueto's got Braun down in the count 0-2. And that one is a soft liner out to short for the first out.
Yeah, coming off a game in Pittsburgh where the Pittsburgh starter Vance Worley didn't throw too many pitches out of the strike zone. The starting pitcher is really attacking this Brewers offense.
Johnny Cueto has now thrown 16 consecutive strikes of his 58 pitches. Here's Gerardo Parra, a guy who likes to swing at the first pitch. And Cueto misses. So 16 consecutive strikes before his next ball. And a ground ball to short. Cozart slings it over to first, 2 outs in the inning.
Adam played perfectly. Hey, the most popular way to follow the Brewers in the September pennant races is with MLB.com at bat. The #1 app for live baseball. Enjoy live look-ins, replays, score updates, live radio broadcasts, and more. Download At Bat free for your smartphone or tablet in the App Store.
If you're wondering what the most consecutive strikes thrown in a major league game, As Matt Clark sends one deep into left center field. Hamilton on the run and makes the catch. So Clark on the first pitch hits it hard, but the speedy Hamilton runs it down, and the inning is over. Still 2-0 Reds. Great American Ballpark. Reds lead 2-0 as we head to the bottom of the fifth inning. And tonight, don't miss Fox Sports Live as they bring you the news and highlights from the MLB playoff races, plus the latest from college football and the NFL. You can watch Fox Sports Live on Fox Sports 1, and it's streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Jay and Dan will have that for you tonight. Mike Fiers back to work here in the Cincinnati fifth. Reds scored twice in the first inning on back-to-back homers from Frazier and Mesoraco. Fiers has given up just a walk and a hit since. Cozart, foul territory. Ramirez taking a look, and it'll be in the seats. Thinking about Johnny Cueto's 16 consecutive strikes, and that's impressive. Bartolo Colon, remember a couple of years ago, he threw 38 consecutive strikes in a game.
Yeah.
He was pitching for the A's at the time. I believe it was against the Angels.
That's amazing, isn't it?
The records are a little shady for consecutive strikes, especially if you go back a little while. Pitch data was not recorded as it is now. But Colon's streak in 2012 believed to be the longest since '88. Cozart sends one to left field. That's trouble. That's going to bounce off the base of the wall. And Zach Cozart is in with a double. That's a leadoff double here in the fifth inning.
And Mike Fiers hung a curveball that time. A two-strike hang on a 2-2 count. And Cozart able to whistle it down that left field line. Get that one down a little bit. It's going to be an out, but he left it up, and Cozart hit it hard.
So here is Cueto trying to advance the runner now. Brewers are expecting a bunt on the corners. Cueto up there to bunt a runner to third. Runs at a premium here tonight. Brewers certainly don't want to fall behind anymore at this point. 2 runs against Cueto is a task in and of itself. Ramirez makes the play. Cueto puts a nice bunt down, and that will advance Cozart to third. 5-3 on the put out.
That brings the top of the order up with a man at third, less than 2 outs. Cueto executing perfectly down the third baseline. That's what you want to do. You bunt it toward third. You make the first baseman leave the bag and able to execute the sacrifice.
Runner at third, top of the order, 1 away. Here's Billy Hamilton, who is 0 for 2. Slicing left field foul in the seats. Fires struck out Hamilton in the first inning. Got him to fly out to center field in the third. Brewers have their infield in. Another fly ball slicing in the seats once again. Fires able to get a fastball by him.
As long as you leave it upstairs, he's going to have a tough time squaring it up. You leave it down a little bit, he'll be able to get a better swing. Doesn't hit many home runs. He's got 6, but 4 of them have come against the Brewers. Go figure.
They have all been of the pull variety. Infield end, no balls, 2 strikes. And fires, misses with a fastball. Hamilton got a little time last year. He played in 13 games in the big leagues last season. This is his rookie year, though. First time he's been through a full major league schedule. He was a shortstop in the minor leagues. The Reds converted him to the outfield once they settled on Cozart as their everyday shortstop in the big leagues. And down he goes. Hamilton went up the ladder and chased one. Fires stayed up there knowing that he might, and he did, and Hamilton is out. That's a big strikeout for Mike Fiers.
And again, the 4 home runs that Billy Hamilton has hit against the Brewers have come on off-speed pitches. Change-ups, curveballs, and we just said that if you leave it up in the zone like that, he's going to have a tough time with it.
2 outs now. Here's Jason Bourgeois. Brewers relax their infield back to normal position.
They're still in at the corners thinking that Bourgeois might drop down a bunt. Ramirez even with the bag. Clark not that deep either.
Fiers never ran across Bourgeois in the Brewers system in the minor leagues. Bourgeois made it to the big leagues with Milwaukee the year Fiers was drafted, 2009. Jason was with Milwaukee for just 24 games in 09. He has been in a lot of locations since. He went from the Brewers to the Astros. A couple of years with the Astros, up and down between the minor leagues and the big leagues. Same deal in Kansas City. Last year he got a handful of games with the Rays. And this year playing in his 12th, making his 13th game as a Cincinnati Red. Also spent some time in the White Sox organization.
It's one of those guys that one of those AAA plus guys, you know, just does well in AAA, but doesn't really get a lot of success at the big league level. Doesn't get a whole lot of playing time, just kind of in that bubble area.
The Reds are his 9th different organization. but a valuable guy. He's a makeup guy, character guy that a lot of organizations like to have at their AAA level. Help the young guys along, and he's productive down there. There's a fly ball to right, and Cincinnati is going to strand a runner at third. A leadoff double by Cozart. Mike Fiers able to get through the frame scoreless. First, they still lead 2-0. We head to the 6th inning now at Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati. And the 5th inning was an inning that Fiers escapes, and it's in our Southwest Airlines non-stoppable play. After a leadoff double, got a strikeout and a flyout. After Cueto had sacrificed, bunted the runner to third base. Good job by Fiers. Keeps the Brewers within 2 of Cueto.
Yeah, most of the outs have come on the fastball for Mike Fiers, and able to get the final 2 outs in that inning on the fastball. Strike out to Hamilton and a pop-up. Well done.
Gene Segura will bat to start the 6th inning. He was Cueto's last strikeout victim, his third. Cueto gave up a hit to Aramis Ramirez in the 1st inning, and Hamilton threw out Jeanette trying to score on that batted ball. Johnny Cueto has not allowed a base runner since. 12 in a row he's retired. All 4 of his strikeouts have come in that stretch. Brewers had their chance early to get him. They didn't take advantage, making 2 outs on the base paths. And now Cueto is locked in here. And Segura into center field. Hamilton for out number 1.
Yeah, 64 pitches now for Cueto, 45 of them for strikes. Just pounding the strike zone.
Well, Ron Renicki's going to make a move here. Fiers is out. And you see Estrada scrambling. He and bullpen catcher Marcus Hanel to get loose. Elian Herrera is going to pinch hit here for Mike Fiers.
Yeah, it takes Marco a little bit longer than the normal reliever to get ready. Well, Brewers need offense and can't afford to allow Fiers to get him that bad here in the 6th.
5 innings, 2 earned runs for Fiers. He'll have 1 more start. That'll be against the Cubs on the next homestand. Fiers is scheduled to pitch the final day of the season. He's the last in the rotation that we'll see again. So the rest of this series, it's Loesch and Gallardo, and then Garza goes the opener against the Cubs, and then Willie Peralta on Saturday.
And another good start for Mike Fiers, just thinking about those 2 home runs that he allowed. Yeah, Johnny Cueto is going to pitch the last game of the season. You'd figure if he gets a win tonight. Try and get number 20 should the Brewers not be able to come back. Still a lot of time left.
Curious watching Cueto here. He called his catcher out. Not sure if it was game plan or something grabbed him. No attention from the bench. Couple of shakes. And he's finally got the one he wants. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And Herrera takes a ball up and away. There's that fast release by Cueto.
Yeah, good take. Herrera started that bat, but able to hold up.
Down he goes. Herrera strikes out. 2 up, 2 down for Cueto here in the 6th inning.
And 5th strikeout for Cueto. Pitch up in the strike zone. Herrera not able to hold up on that one.
Carlos Gomez now with 2 away. 3rd trip at the plate for Gomez, who singled in the 1st inning and then immediately got picked off first base. In the air, right center. That ball's pretty well hit. Hamilton is on the run at the wall, and it is gone. Carlos Gomez goes deep, and the Brewers finally get one on the board. And the first home run in over a month for Gomez. It is his 22nd of the season. It is 2-1 Cincinnati.
Yeah, last couple of games, Gomez has been waiting back a little bit more. And then using the center of the field. That base hit his last time up against the Pirates into right center. That's a slider that stayed up in the zone. Carlos didn't try and pull it. He waited back and drove it out of here to the opposite field. Look how close Billy Hamilton comes to catching that baseball. A Powerball home run count for Carlos at 22.
And the first home run for Gomez since August 20th against the Blue Jays. Normally you can cruise around the bases when you hit a home run, but Gomez likes to sprint around, and he
wasn't sure it was out.
Yeah, he's gassed on the bench.
He saw that ball fall back into play. Wasn't sure if Hamilton brought it back or it ended up in the seats.
All right, so the Brewers score here in the 6th inning. A 2-out home run by Gomez. His 2nd hit against Cueto. Scooter Gennett has walked, and he flew out to deep right his last time up. Cueto was able to get him to chase some high fastballs. There's a broken bat. Cueto hits the deck. It's right to Phillips, and that will retire the side. Well, the Brewers finally score. It's been a while after being shut out Sunday. Carlos Gomez finally puts a tally on the board for the Brew Crew. It's 2-1 Reds. Brewers baseball on Fox Sports Wisconsin is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Without a heart, it's just a machine. By the Wisconsin Lottery, reminding you to please play responsibly. And by Miller Lite, now in the original can, it's Miller time. Gorgeous night in the Queen City, Cincinnati, Ohio. Right on the banks of the Ohio River. And a Tuesday night here in Cincinnati. Marco Estrada will take over for the Brewers. Fiers was pinch hit for last inning. Might be a little bit of the fact that the Brewers haven't scored. Might be a little bit of the fact you're trying to shut down the innings on Fiers toward the end. And Marco will take over. He's been pitching very well for the Brewers.
It had to be all about the offense in my mind. I mean, it didn't really. Brewers not in a position to give away too many outs. You know, Marco Estrada appeared on Sunday against the Pirates, tossed a scoreless inning. A 3-up, 3-down, 8th inning that included a strikeout, but another good effort by Mike Fiers.
Todd Frazier will lead off. This is the part of the order that did the damage against Fiers in the first. Frazier and Mesoraco went back-to-back in the first inning. Frazier's 2 for 2, had a home run and a double against Fiers.
Marco Estrada is getting some very important innings these days. Used to be the long man, only pitching once he was relegated to the bullpen in games where the starter wasn't able to last too long. But now look where he's pitching now. 2-1 game in the 6th.
Stays outside, gets another swing and a miss. Marco's got a nice little streak going. He has been unscored upon over his last 12 2/3 innings. That covers 7 games for Estrada.
A lot of zeros up on that board. He comes in, doesn't walk anybody. Pounds a strike zone with that fastball and changeup.
Right off the end of the bat, Jeanette gloves and fires to first in time to get Frazier. Just another good pitch by Estrada. Had him out in front on the change. And the first out of the inning. As promised earlier in the broadcast, we have the AT&T fan photo of the game. Don't forget to use the hashtag WisFanPhoto. It comes from a cell. How's that one? A cell 825 with Carlos Gomez. That looks like it was from earlier today. Nicely done. Which one you got as a cell right there, Rock?
I don't know.
I'm going to say the one next to Gomez. There's a line drive left field foul. Mesoraco hooks one.
Pirates tied the Braves. Top of the 6th.
Is that right?
Check that. They just went ahead. 3-2 in the 6th.
Oh, wow. The Brewers have been mired in this long slump offensively. The Braves have been even worse from the misery loves company perspective.
Right.
Atlanta scored in the first inning tonight. They had not scored a run in the first inning since August 28th. Nearly a month without scoring a first inning run. And then they give it right back. Pittsburgh now has the lead. 3-2 Pirates. A Pirates win and a Brewers loss mathematically eliminates Milwaukee from the picture.
Runs have been tough to come by this month for teams in the Central. All around baseball for that matter.
There's a swing and a miss. Mesoraco out in front. 3-2 now on the all-star catcher of the Reds. Got to tip your hat to Pittsburgh and St. Louis, though, as hard as that is. I mean, those two teams, they played their best when it mattered most. Pittsburgh's one of the hottest teams in the big leagues right now. There's another swing and a miss. Same pitch, and Mesoraco is down on strikes. 2 up, 2 down for Marco Estrada.
Yeah, second time tonight that Mesoraco has struck out on a changeup. Fires got him back in the 3rd inning, and now Marco was run right down the middle. Mesoraco out in front. Good pitch, way out in front, and pulls his head. You see, he's looking to hit that one out of the ballpark.
Here's Brandon Phillips. We've been toying with the notion why offense is down, runs are down, home runs are down, batting average, all of that. And I think that Mesoraco at bat, for me anyway, is symbolic of where most hitters are in the major leagues. Power pays. You don't have a lot of guys who are shortening up, trying to put the ball in play or take the ball to the opposite field, make it tough on a pitcher with 2 strikes. Guys are trying to hit the ball out of the ballpark.
I think a lot of it has to do with you got more guys, not just starting pitchers, but guys coming out of the bullpen throwing in the mid-90s, 96, 97. And I think the shifting has a lot to do with it. I mean, that's taken away a lot of base hits. I mean, it's an incredible amount of base hits that have been taken away with all these scouting reports. I mean, the Brewers do extensive work in trying to position their defense. And how many times you see a guy hit a bullet right up the middle and there's an infielder standing right there?
Now, all of those components have changed the makeup of the game, and I don't think it's something to necessarily worry about, because games are taking longer than they've ever occurred as far as time of game, and so you're getting some deep counts. I don't think pitches per plate appearances are moving much, but just offense in general. I certainly don't think the strike zone is larger.
No.
I mean, if anything, the strike zone's small.
Oh, absolutely, and guys are taking more pitches. I mean, you see guys taking 2-0, 3-1. Why? I'm not sure.
Phillips, a little weak ground ball to the right side. Estrada covers. Jeanette hits him on the run. And Marco with a 3 up, 3 down inning. And his scoreless inning streak is alive. 13 2/3 consecutive for Marco Estrada. Johnny Cueto is still on the mound and going strong for the Reds. Some Brewers fans in attendance here tonight. Say, make sure you're at Miller Park this Saturday. Fan Appreciation Night is coming up. It's presented by Chevrolet. All fans in attendance will be automatically entered to win a number of great prizes, including the grand prize, a 2014 Chevy Equinox. Visit Brewers.com/fan appreciation for details. Jonathan Lucroy will lead off for the Brewers. Down a run to Cueto and the Reds. And all of the runs coming on the home run ball. Reds got back-to-back homers from Frazier and Mesoraco in the first. Gomez homered last inning off Cueto to snap his string of 14 in a row retired. Up and in on Jonathan Lucroy. Got the middle of the order coming up. Lucroy, Ramirez, Braun. If anybody gets on, Parra. Lucroy still one double away from tying a franchise record. Lyle Overbay the other day was just saying, I'm ready for him to just get it over with. Overbay is the record holder. Set it in 2004. Lucroy with 52 doubles this season. Overbay 53, the record holder. There's only been 3 Brewers in the history of the franchise with 50 or more doubles, and they're all 3 on the same roster currently. Overbay's the franchise leader with 53. Aramis Ramirez had 50 in 2012. Led the league that year in doubles, and Lucroy with 52 this year. It's a very impressive feat.
And all that, I think that Lucroy, if you were to ask him about personal achievements, he'd much rather have a 300 batting average at the end of the season. He's right now at 302. Has to keep hitting.
6th in the league in batting is Lucroy. Lucroy and Cueto were all-star teammates this year. Jonathan not only making his first all-star team, but he started the game after Yadier Molina was injured. On the ground, Cozart backhands, bobbles, long throw is up the line, and Lucroy is safe.
That might be an error. I mean, he bobbled it. He got to it nicely, and he put himself in position to throw. When he took the ball out of his glove, he lost it. And because of that, Lucroy able to beat it. We'll see what they give him. So he puts himself in position right there, that little bobble. And then had to try to be a little bit too quick. And Lucroy on.
And it will go as an error on Cozart. That's the right call. Here's Aramis Ramirez now with the tying run at first at the plate presented by Wendy's. He singled in the first and thought when it left the bat it was going to bring in a run. It was about right in that spot. And Ramirez with his second hit.
And Brewers make the Reds pay for that leadoff error. And first and second, you got Braun coming up. Time for Brawny to get a hold of one. It's been a while.
Now gives Braun a chance with 2 on and nobody out. Powerball home run leaderboard looks like this. Gomez now at 22. He joins Davis and Reynolds at the top of the leaderboard. Braun still looking for his 20th homer of the season.
Last one coming on September 11th against the Marlins. It's been a couple of weeks.
Ryan struck out in the second. He hit a soft liner to the shortstop in the 5th. Swings at the first pitch here, and this is going to turn into a 5-3 double play.
Yeah, those are the at-bats that Ron Renege has been talking about as far as an approach. Well, you swing at that first pitch, you'd like to be able to drive one into the gap somewhere, but Cueto able to jam him. That pitch way off the inside corner. The big movement jams Braun and turns into an easy double play.
So 2 outs, runner at second now. Here's Gerardo Parra. Ramirez does not run well at second. Parra's going to have to.
And the outfield in. I mean, they are pretty shallow for Gerardo Parra in the outfield here.
Got a great arm in right field in Jay Bruce, one of the best in the league. And Parra pops it up. And this looks like it's going to stay playable. Negron is there, and the Brewers let an opportunity go. They had 2 on with nobody out, and they come up empty. All right, Jeff, thanks for the update. The Pirates, 14 wins in the month of September. They are 14-6. They are +8 in the month. Remember, the Brewers snapped their 5-game winning streak, but Milwaukee dropped 2 out of 3 to the Buccos. And trying to survive one more day, Milwaukee. A Pirate win and a Brewers loss would mathematically eliminate Milwaukee. Marco Estrada back to work, his second inning. He'll face Jay Bruce to start it. 2-1. Reds have the lead. Gomez is homered for the Brewers. Carlos Gomez, that was in the 6th inning. Brewers just had 2 on with nobody out, and Braun and Parra coming up, and Cueto gets out of it. And that's the way it has gone for the Brewers offensively. All the big bats have had plenty of chances. Those players that you're paying to drive in the big runs.
Not doing it, right?
And they're all not doing it at the same time, which has resulted in this dreadful finish to the season for the Brewers.
And that's what comes from, pressing a little bit, trying to do too much. Braun swinging at a pitch that's way off the inside corner, jams himself and rolls into a double play.
There's a good changeup by Estrada. He's had a beauty so far.
Just good arm action on it, and has had every one of these Reds hitters out in front of it.
1 ball, 2 strikes on Jay Bruce. Bruce is coming off a big game Sunday against St. Louis. It's been a rough year for him, especially a rough second half. But he had 2 home runs on Sunday. He was 3 for 4 against the Cardinals in that 7-2 win. Reds hit 4 home runs in that game, and they've got 2 tonight.
Yeah, Bruce hitting under 200 in the month of September. 2 home runs on Sunday, giving him 8 for the month. Jay Bruce hitting .216 this year.
Yeah, looking at his worst season. Slow roller over to Clark. He'll glove it, flip it, and Estrada is there for the first out. Well, Jeff got you up to speed on the Pirates. How about our Chase playoff update? The wild card standings look like this, with the Pirates and the Giants tied at the top. Pittsburgh owns the tiebreaker there, so you don't have to determine who the 2 teams are going to be if it ends up the Pirates and the Giants. Pittsburgh would host if they finish in a tie. And you got the Brewers 5 back with 6 to play, needing a miracle. That's a big swing on who hosts that wild card game. Pittsburgh hosted the wild card game last year, and they beat the Reds. They beat Johnny Cueto.
It's a big deal having to go to the West Coast as opposed to staying home, right? Takes a lot out of you, that long flight.
Because you know you're going to return. The winner of the wild card game is going to have to return to the East to play the Washington Nationals. Washington looks like they're going to finish with the best record. Nationals have 91 wins. Dodgers have 89 wins right now. It's conceivable that the Dodgers could catch them, but Washington knows that home field advantage is important. I will say this, though, having covered a couple of the wild card games, the wild card playing games, it always feels like there is more pressure on the home team for whatever reason. I think a lot of times if you enter into the second wild card spot, you're almost happy to be there. And the first wild card spot means maybe you've missed out on a division. I remember that was the case 2 years ago. Remember how good the Atlanta Braves were? They didn't win their division.
Yep.
They finished second in their division, but were the top wild card team. St. Louis went in there. And in any other scenario, Atlanta would have gone into a 5-game series, but that was the first year of the wild card play-in game. And the Cardinals went in and beat them in 2012. That was the famed infield fly rule game.
Yeah, into left field.
Kyle Loesch started that game for St. Louis. There's a shot, center field. Negron out to Carlos Gomez for the out. 2 up, 2 down.
And I think there's a little bit more pressure on teams when they're playing at home. The expectation is you're home fans, and you want to put your best foot forward. Maybe coming in on the road as an underdog, a little bit more relaxed, maybe. I don't know.
I thought that was it was a wild ride last year for the Tampa Bay Rays, and you know they ended up in a tiebreaker scenario. Rays and the Rangers last year finished with identical records. Texas owned the season series, so they hosted a tiebreaker game, a 163rd game, different from the wild card game. That was treated as a regular season game, and then Tampa Bay won that on the road in Arlington, and then went to Cleveland and won that game on the road in the wild card game, and then went right to Boston, where they played the Red Sox in the division series round. That's where it ended for the Rays last year. Boston won in 4 games. Boston would go on to win the World Series. Cozart pops it up. Lucroy off with the mask, and he's got it for the out. Well, Marco Estrada, 6 in a row, retired. 14 2/3 consecutive scoreless innings for him.
At a top 8, the Brewers down 2-1, and tonight's time of the game winner, Red Maple Country Club in Suring, Wisconsin. That's just north of Green Bay, about an hour.
Yep, everybody knows that.
If they call the Brewers in the next 24 hours, they get 40 Miller Lite beer pen tickets to a 2015 Brewers home game. This offer courtesy of the Tavern League of Wisconsin and Miller Lite.
Right off County Road Am up in Suring.
There you go.
You ever been there?
Nope.
I got to start exploring Wisconsin a little bit in the offseason.
You want to go with me?
Maybe you and I go together up there.
A little pub crawl around the state.
See, we'll go to a Packers game, and then it's just,
right,
you know, a conversation away from Green Bay, we'll call it. We're going to get our off-season plans together, our social calendar, you and me.
You're always working.
Not always. That's not true.
I'm the only one that does nothing in the off-season.
Here's Johnny Cueto ready to start his 8th inning. He has been on cruise control for the most part. Did give up a 2-out home run to Gomez in the 6th inning. Brewers had 2 on, nobody out last inning, but Cueto immediately got out of it with a double play ball off the bat of Braun. So Matt Clark, Gene Segura, then the pitcher spot coming up. Another terrific night for Marco Estrada.
And just reinforcing his importance as you go into next season.
Big swing by Clark. Yeah, Marco, he's still got that consecutive scoreless inning streak alive. He'll be pinch hit for in this inning. So his day is done. Rick Kranitz doing a little ego building on that bench. He's good at that.
He works hard. All these coaches do. We talk about it every night. Johnny Nairn, the hitting coach, has these guys prepared. Just a matter of whether they're going to be able to execute or not. Infield, outfield, you name it.
Players just want to know that somebody's in it with them. This game can make you feel like the whole world's against you, whether you're struggling individually or as a team, and when both are happening, coaches got to be in the sports psychology field more than anything else. Trying to remind them how good they are. That one just missed. Cueto wanted that call, and he is peering in at CB Buckner.
Well, Mike Fiers had some issues with some of the calls early in the ball game. That was off the outside corner.
3-2 on the way, and Clark pops it foul.
Just never know what you're going to get. I mean, that delivery from Cueto, changeup comes out of the same arm slot, comes out of the hand the same as the fastball, and until he gets about halfway to home plate, not sure.
Clark is gone on strikes. That's one of the best fastballs of the night for Cueto, 94 miles an hour.
Hey, he threw one of those to Ryan Braun early in the game, but really hasn't had to use that big velocity tonight. This one up out of the strike zone, and Clark knew it right away that he swung at ball 4.
Sixth strikeout for Johnny Cueto. Pinch hitter being announced. Lyle Overbay. He'll hit for Segura.
Ron Rennie not messing around. He's got plenty of pinch hitters on the bench, and he's not afraid to use them.
Overbay's been terrific off the bench for the Brewers this season. Get a pinch hit appearance here in the 8th. Brewers need a base runner. Here's a bouncer out to second base. And on the first pitch, Overbay is retired. Cueto has 2 gone in the 8th.
Just takes a little bit off, adds a little bit when he needs to, and had Lyle out in front.
See Jefferson, Broxton in the bullpen. The Brewers remain down 2-1. You'll see Jeffress, I would imagine. Here's Chris Davis. He'll pinch hit for Estrada. Marco goes 2 scoreless, 6 up, 6 down with a strikeout. Well, Davis has big power. You'd love to see him get a hold of one and tie this thing up. He rips one foul. First full season in the big leagues for Chris Davis this year.
At-bats have been few and far between for Chris on this road trip. He's had 10 at-bats this trip.
Oh, he took a mighty hack. 0-2 the count on Davis. It's always a curious study to watch young players who are experiencing the big leagues for the first time as you get into the month of September. Davis is going to finish around 500 at-bats this season. And he's had a good season. 22 homers, 68 RBIs. The Brewers are very excited about his potential as a hitter. They think his walks are going to go up significantly. His strikeouts are going to come down once he gets to know the league. Strikes out here, and Cueto makes it look easy in the 8th. 3 up, 3 down, 2 strikeouts. He has 7 for the game. He's through 8 innings. Way there. You know Jeff Grayson's been there. He probably did a little fishing there at one point in his life. 2-1 Reds. We head to the home 8th. Cincinnati is coming up. The Brewers will have a new pitcher on the mound, Jeremy Jeffress.
And another guy that's been very good for this Brewers ball club this year. 28th appearance for Jeremy. And a 135 earned run average. Got a pinch hitter, then the top of the Reds batting order to deal with. Got to keep it at 1 run because you fear you're going to be facing Aroldis Chapman in the 9th.
Cueto in line for his 19th win of the year. Hector Gomez will enter the game to play short. Segura was pinch hit for last inning. So Pena will bat for Cueto. Backup catcher Brian Pena, switch hitting catcher. And Jeffress with his big fastball enters the game, and he zips one in at 95. Well, you hope Jeffress can keep it going. He's had an amazing rise and fall and rise back again to the big leagues. Quite a story. Jeremy Jeffress was diagnosed with juvenile epilepsy last year while he was a member of the Blue Jays organization. There's a line drive into left center, and Parra is able to cut it off, but the ball slips away, and that's going to be a double for Pena.
Pena turned that fastball around, did a nice job waiting back, didn't try and pull it. And hit a bullet out there in the left center. Now, if Parra's able to smother that ball and keep it in front of him, I think that Pena stays at first. Kind of squirted under his glove, and then Gomez not able to get there. Gomez kind of overran it himself. Big run out there at second base.
Yorman Rodriguez will pinch run for Cincinnati. So he had the pinch hitter Pena, Rodriguez the pinch runner. Top of the order coming up. Here's Billy Hamilton. Brewers are expecting a bunt here. And he gets it down. Lucroy's got it. Nobody at third. And the out at first. Sacrifice bunt for Hamilton.
Not quite sure in this situation why you don't have anybody at third base. It had to be a missed sign. I mean, Gomez at short has nothing else to do. He's got nowhere to go. There's nobody at first. I think somebody missed something there because Gomez should have been running down toward first base. He's running towards second. Nope, not sure why. That's a blown defense right there.
All right, so runner at third with one out. Here's Bourgeois. Infield in for the Brewers. And a bouncing ball through. Base hit. 3-1 Cincinnati. That'll be an RBI for Bourgeois. And they made it look easy. Bourgeois' first RBI as a Red.
I just wonder if Gomez was able to get over to third base instead of going back to second. Because that bunt was about, what, 3 feet in front of home plate.
Yeah.
Probably would have kept Rodriguez from going to third base. If nothing else, it might have got the out. But Bourgeois would have bounced one into left field with the drawn in infield.
Here's Todd Frazier now. Leadoff double. A bunt to get him to third, and Bourgeois hit with the drawn in infield to bring him in. Reds lead 3-1. They have out hit the Brewers 6-4. Cueto goes 8 innings with 1 earned run allowed. He finishes with 7 strikeouts and is in line for win number 19 of the season. Wainwright and Kershaw with 20 wins this year. The top winner in the American League is the Angels' Jared Weaver. He's won 18 games. We got 2 in the National League with 20 wins.
It makes it a little bit more difficult to get through those American League lineups with the DH. But on the flip side of that, in the American League, a starter can stay in the game a little bit longer. Doesn't have to be pinch hit for.
Now, wins are an interesting stat right now. You dive into a lot of the metrics, and wins fall a number of spots on the order of importance if you're trying to evaluate what a pitcher can be, and that's what the advanced metrics allow you to do if you're trying to match up one pitcher to another, or you're trying to see what kind of season he really had, things that are out of his control. Wins are so out of your control as a pitcher, but they do matter. They do have a place, and those who are big winners deserve the kind of recognition. If you win 20 games, got a chance to turn it here. Gomez to Jeanette, and a 6-4-3 double play to get Jeffress out of the inning. But a big run scores for Cincinnati. They lead 3-1. We go to the ninth. Well, the Brewers down 2 as we head to the ninth inning. And it's going to be Aroldis Chapman on the mound. Let's take a look at what's on tap. Courtesy of Miller Lite. On the air tomorrow at 5:30. Fox Sports Wisconsin and Brewers Live. You got Daniel Corsino, who did a number on the Brewers in his only matchup against the Crew. Kyle Loesch, the former Red, will be on the mound going after win number 13. Speaking of wins, trying to lower that ERA. Loesch's last start of the regular season. Brewers got their work cut out for him tonight. One of the dominant closers in the game, Aroldis Chapman, is on the mound. 33 saves. He's only blown 2. He started the season on the disabled list.
And look at that opponent batting average at 124. He's 33 out of 35, and about 2 strikeouts for every inning that he pitches. 97 punch-outs in 50 innings. That's unbelievable. And the Brewers have the top of the order coming up.
Carlos Gomez is coming up, and he is in our shining moment tonight, brought to you by the Marshfield Clinic. And about the only offense to speak of for the Brewers, as Gomez, with 2 outs, sends one out of here to right center field in the 6th inning. His club leading 22nd home run of the season. And the Brewers need one more just like it to get this thing tied.
Well, Chapman has converted his last 17 save opportunities. Last blown save came on June 28th.
The Cuban Missile is his nickname. And he has registered the fastest fastballs in the history of Major League Baseball. And powers that one in at 101 miles per hour.
People around here don't even get excited about that anymore. Pretty routine.
Gomez, a big hack. 1 ball, 1 strike, trying to match the velocity of the fastball. It's actually just the opposite.
Yeah.
A short, compact swing with that kind of velocity, if you square it up, it's going to go.
Play Pepper with him.
How about those numbers? 0 for 8, 7 strikeouts. And he's hit by a pitch. Chapman tried to send a slider down and in, and he hung on to it and drills Gomez. So that's a break for Milwaukee.
I think Carlos now has been on 3 times tonight. Well, you'd take that any day, wouldn't you? A 1-1 count.
All right, here's Ricky Weeks hitting for Jeanette. Subway in-game box score, a bunch of offers on that list. Ramirez with 2 hits, Gomez with 2 hits, and of the 4, only 1 extra base hit. So here is Weeks now, pinch hitting for Jeanette. One swing of the bat, the Brewers could take, or rather tie the game here. Ricky winding down his Milwaukee career, you would think. Still feels like he's an everyday player in the big leagues. And probably not going to have that chance in Milwaukee.
Handled this season with a lot of class. And went about his business, did his work. It remains to be seen if Ricky's going to be back or not.
He's been an all-star. He's been in a home run derby. He's been a big power hitter in the National League at second base. And his career not finishing in Milwaukee like he hoped it would. Had a terrible hamstring injury last year.
And a number of injuries. The 2 wrist surgeries that he had, and hamstring injuries, had an ankle injury. I don't see Carlos taking off in this situation. At least you don't think, anyway.
Yeah, this is what that run for the Reds does to the Brewers offense here in the 9th. Makes them station to station for now. Brewers have only mustered up 1 run in the last 2 games. They went 14 consecutive innings without scoring a run until Gomez's homer in the 6th. There's a strike. 2-1.
And it took a little off that fastball just to get it over at 98 miles an hour.
That's his get over fastball pitch, you're saying?
Yeah.
Cruising speed.
Take a little off.
Going for more control than power at 98. Yikes. Well, we've seen it before, so it doesn't shock you anymore, but it's still incredible to think that this man right here on the mound can throw a baseball faster than any other human being in the world.
And do it consistently.
2-2 the count. And Weeks is gone on strikes. 1-0-2 with the fastball.
And right down the middle of the plate.
First strikeout for Aroldis Chapman.
I mean, splits home plate right in half, and
that even looks fast in slow motion. Look at the reaction time. Zip, zip by you. Man, incredible. Here's Lucroy. Lucroy 0 for 3 tonight. He reached on an error in the 7th inning. Lucroy has a hit off Aroldis Chapman. It was one of the biggest of his career. Last year, Lucroy had a 12-pitch battle with Aroldis Chapman in Milwaukee. finally threw him a slider, and Lucroy hit one out to left field. It was a walk-off home run. That's his only hit. Chapman has struck him out 7 times.
And he's not alone, Lucroy, against this guy. Nobody's really had a whole lot of success against Chapman. You just hope he makes a mistake. And he made that mistake hanging a slider in that particular game, and Lucroy knocked it out.
He couldn't shake him with a fastball. I remember that at bat so well. Lucroy must have put half a dozen balls in the first base loge level. Just kept fouling off fastball after fastball. And Chapman, I think, he got frustrated with the whole scene. So he threw him a slider, and it hung, and Lucroy banged it out of here. It was a thrilling moment last year. 2 balls and a strike. Tying run at the plate. And Lucroy fouls it back. Right about there. That's where all those foul balls went for Lucroy.
I bet a bloop and a blast right now. A couple of men on. Let Ramirez knock one out of here. This offense is due to break out at some point, but you're asking a lot if you're expecting it against this guy.
2-2 to Lucroy. Way inside, almost hit him. That's got to rattle the cage a little, doesn't it? Fastball right at your knees at 102 miles an hour.
Yeah, you're not going to take one for the team at that speed. You're doing whatever you can to get out of the way.
Not that your brain would even let you. The flight mechanism is in full force with a fastball that velocity coming at you. 3-2 in the air, right field, pretty well hit. Bruce, a long run, and he cannot get it. It is foul.
Yeah, just missed that line. Of course, had it been fair, Bruce might have been able to get to it. Yeah, but Luke able to center on that one a little bit. Hit it hard to the opposite field.
Long run for Bruce. Just foul down the right field line. There's hardly any foul territory down there.
Now, does Mesoraca think about calling a slider here? He hasn't thrown a slider. The only one he's thrown hit Gomez.
Mesoraco is not even bothering to put a sign down. Full count. 1 out. Lucroy takes ball 4. What a take. On a 101-mile-an-hour fastball, Lucroy draws the walk, and suddenly the Brewers are in business here with 2 on, 1 out, and Ramirez coming up representing the go-ahead run.
Now the blast. Rami's been swinging the bat well tonight.
Lucroy is going to be pinch run for. Logan Schaefer now carrying the tying run. Ramos Ramirez with 1 away, 2 men aboard.
Well, the outfield for the Reds, particularly in left and center, pretty shallow. Billy Hamilton just moved back a few steps.
Yeah, Ramirez way late. Fouls off the fastball from Chapman. Another one at triple digits.
I figure if Ramirez can find a gap either in right center, left center, Logan Schaefer certainly has the speed to be able to score.
Great speed on the bags. Gomez and Schaefer. And Ramirez again late. That one was in there at 102. And it's 0-2 on Aramis. Got his average up to 291. 2 hits tonight, both singles. He thought the one in the first was going to drive in a run, but Billy Hamilton threw out Jeanette trying to score. That ended the inning. 0-2 pitch, and Ramirez fights another one off.
And the more you see, the better chance you have of centering on one. And Ramirez, at least a little bit, getting the barrel on that one. Kind of small victories that you have to take when you're facing this guy.
Way inside, almost got him. That was the slider again. You know, Ramirez, he's a smart hitter. He's filing away the fact that Chapman has not been able to throw the slider effectively. He's hit Gomez. He almost hit Ramirez.
Yeah, tough. Amazing that he was able to get out of the way.
Gomez takes off and Ramirez strikes out. He did throw him a slider, and it was a good one. Aramis is gone. Gomez steals third base. Seems like a stolen base in a spot like that is more of a distraction for the hitter than anything else.
Yeah. And you see that move. You see Gomez taking off. His run doesn't mean a whole lot. Maybe a risk not worth taking.
Now for Gomez, that's his 34th steal. But the Brewers are down to their last out, and for the second consecutive game, it's going to come down to Ryan Braun at the plate, who is representing the go-ahead run once again.
And if you're wondering why Logan Schaefer didn't steal second base, he didn't realize that Gomez was running, and if you don't get a good jump, you're going to get thrown out at second to end the game. So if you don't get the good jump and that trail runner, just stay.
Braun was the last out in Pittsburgh. He was up there with 2 on. Hoping to change course here tonight. He had a big cut at that. He fouls it back. Braun was right on that fastball, but under it, and it's a ball and a strike. Chapman has 22 pitches. 16 of them have been 100 miles an hour or faster. First and third, 2 outs. And Braun is late. He fouls it away. And now the Brewers down to their last strike. Pittsburgh has a 3-2 lead in the 9th inning in Atlanta. If the 2 scores hold up as they are, the Brewers will be officially eliminated from postseason possibility. See what Chapman does here. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And Braun strikes out, and the inning is over, and that'll end the ball game. The Brewers lose to the Reds. Johnny Cueto is now a 19-game winner. He goes 8 innings, just 1 run. And for the second consecutive game, the Brewers fail to come up with any offense, and Ryan Braun is the final out with men on base. Chapman strikes out the side around a hit, batter, and a walk, and a 3-1 Cincinnati win. Time for Brewers Live. We send it to Jeff Grayson in our Fox Sports Wisconsin studios. Jeff.